everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar. We will start right now, I think, and let the other people join on as we start. Thanks again for joining. We're very happy to have you all on board. Today we'll be discussing the theme Navigating European and Saudi Arabia Cosmetic Regulations with the Compliance and Challenges and Solutions. I'm very happy to have exceptional speakers with us today. I'll give you a quick introduction about the speakers. So today with us we have Maram Al-Swadji, who's our Assistant Contract Manager under the SFDA scheme. We have Aurélie Bafoual, our Technical Manager who has cosmetic compliance regulations expertise. Dr. Irene Kotogny, Cosmetic Specialist at Neutron, and Dr. Chandrajit, who's the Managing Director at Wimpy Lab. Next slide, please. I'll just give you a quick overview of the agenda of the day. So we'll have a very quick overview of Cotecna, and then we'll follow directly deep in the theme of today. So overview of European cosmetics regulations, then we'll follow the Saudi Arabian cosmetic standards, review the challenges in compliance and certification, and go to the Q&A session. For the Q&A, we have already received some via the registration link, but if you would like to add some other ones, you will see at the top of your screen there is a Q&A tab where you can ask all your questions there. Okay, let me give you a very brief introduction about Cotecna. So, Cotecna was founded in 1974 in Switzerland, meaning that next year we're celebrating our 50th anniversary. We have over 7,000 employees around the world, and we operate in 6 main industries, which is agriculture, food and pharma, metals and minerals, government and trade solutions, and consumer products. And we operate services such as certification, inspection, training, supply chain assurance, and testing. As mentioned, we have a global presence around the world. We're present in over 50 countries, and we have around 140 labs and offices around the world. So wherever you are, Cotecna can help you. And to focus a bit more on today's theme, we have some key laboratories within the Cotecna network, which are Toby, Geochem, ACT, Neutron, and Wimpy, from which we have great speakers today. Okay, now let's dive into today's theme, Navigating European and Saudi Arabian Cosmetic Regulations, Compliance Challenges and Solutions. We will start now with, next slide please, an overview of European cosmetic regulations, and I'll let the floor to my colleague Irene.
Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Irene Cotogni. I'm a regulatory affairs specialist in cosmetics and safety evaluation. Today, I will illustrate to you the cosmetic regulation in Europe, and I would like you to understand that the basis of this regulation is the safety for human health. From this basis, all the articles of the law are written and are thought for. And there will be a review probably in the next year of the UE cosmetic regulation, but now we will focus on the regulation which is in Europe now, and the concept is the basis. Okay. The first thing that I would like to introduce is the definition of cosmetics. It is a very important article because it shows that the cosmetic is not food, is not a drug, is not a medical device. The cosmetic must act only on the shell of the human body, and this is very important because the cosmetic can't act on physiological aspect of the human body, but only on the skin. Next slide, please. And this is very important because it is one of the concept of the basis of the law. The basis, as I told you before, is the safety for human health. Uh, it is not admitted that a cosmetic may have toxicological profile which is not favorable to the human health. The cosmetic product must be safe for the consumers, and the safety it is not only derived from the formula but also the presentation of the cosmetic itself. The safety is also on the label of the cosmetics, because the label is very important to understand how to use the cosmetic, which are the warnings, the instruction of the cosmetics, and the claims of the cosmetic. The claims are very important, and we will see in the, for example, for sunscreen products, where the safety is the same thing as the efficacy. The sunscreen product must be efficacy must be have an efficacy in order to assure the safety for human health. Next slide, please. And another important pillar of the cosmetic law is the definition of a responsible person. The responsible person is the guarantee of the cosmetic product. And there must be a responsible person for each product introduced into the European Union. The other important role that it is introduced in this law, next slide please, is the safety evaluator. The responsible person is the guarantor of the cosmetic product, but the technical role of these guarantees is the safety evaluator. Uh, while a responsible person may be anyone, safety evaluator must be a graduate person, a graduate person in medicine, in pharmacy, or in chemistry or biology. And this is why, because a safety evaluator must know about chemistry, about toxicology, about biology of a human body, in order to evaluate a cosmetic product and declare it safe for human health. Next slide, please. Another important pillar of the European law is the institution of the good manufacturing practice. It is very important because good manufacturing practice assure that the cosmetic product must comply to the law. The quality of the product must assure the safety for human health. It is not specifically mentioned which are the GMP allowed for European, but it is recognized by all in the European Union that the good manufacturing practice accepted are the ISO 22 716. Next slide, please. Okay, the Article 10 is the most important article of the European law, as it states how safety assessment must be performed. We have seen that in the Article 3 that the human health is the basis, the safety for human health is the basis for the cosmetic law. In Article 10, it is specified how to guarantee this safety. The safety must be demonstrated by a relation a draft, a report in which safety evaluator consider all the aspects of the cosmetic products, included formula, microbiology specification, chemical physical specification, method of manufacturing, test performed on the cosmetic, and the safety assessor considering and evaluating all the data from the in collected about the specific product. He or she must declare it safe or not safe for the human health. If it's not safe for human health, it is not a cosmetic, and it won't be placed on the market because it is not safe for human health. So it is not a cosmetic. It is very important, as we said before. The responsible person must be could be anyone, but the safety evaluator must be a graduate person, an expert in toxicological biology or chemistry, or also medicine. Next slide, please. Just two words about the safety assessment is carried out. The most important things is collect the scientific data from literature about toxicological data of the ingredients. Collecting all this data about the toxicological profile of the ingredients, the safety evaluator calculate the margin of safety. But this is not enough. There are some specific analysis that should be carried on the cosmetic product, and we will see in a few minutes. But it is important to keep in mind that the most of the analyses are not regulated in European Union because is the safety evaluator should guide the responsible person to choose the best option, the best strategy in order to assure the safety for human health. So the responsible person won't find a list of mandatory tests, but the safety evaluator must guide the responsible person to choose the best option, the best strategy, the best analysis to perform on its cosmetic product. And we will see in a few minutes some of these analyses. I would like to illustrate, to show you the most important one, which are the challenge test, which is mandatory. Is just maybe the only one mandatory test. The heavy metal tests are very important. The packaging analysis, the patch test is the second very important test after the challenge test, and any dosage of substances which could be critical because they are in the annexes or because they assure the efficacy and the safety of the cosmetic product. For example, sun filter. Okay, next slide, please. In Article 11, we can see how the product information file should be drafted. The product information file, PIF, is the report that I mentioned before, in which the safety evaluator can collect all the reliable and relevant data in order to make a safety assessment. The PIF is structured into parts. The first one is the collects all the data about the cosmetic, included the formula, the microbiology quality, the impurities that could be present in the cosmetic product, the toxicological profile of the substances, the exposure to the substances, and so on. In this part, the safety evaluator calculates the exposure and the margin of safety of each substances contained in the cosmetics. In part B, there is the conclusion of the evaluation, in which the safety assessor declare if the cosmetic is safe for human health or it is not safe. This is a very important passage, an important step. If the safety assessor is not sure that that product is not safe for human health, the responsible person can't place that product on the market, because it is not a cosmetic, because a cosmetic must be safe for human health. It's not a drug. There are not a ratio between risk and benefit. No, the risks are zero. The cosmetic product must have only benefit for the consumer. Okay, next slide, please. Other important articles that I would like to show you, first of all, is the Article 13, the notification. In Europe, if a responsible person, a manufacturer, want to place its products on the market, must register this product on a specific portal, the CPMP, the Cosmetic Product Notification Portal. Please pay attention that the cosmetic product notification portal is a sort of auto authorization on place this cosmetic on the market. Unlike the drugs product, the responsible person doesn't need to have an authorization from the member states in which he or she wants to place its product, because it is enough that he or she will will register its product on the CPMP. Then the member state will perform the control after seeing the list of notified product in the CPMP. But it's not a step that the responsible person needs to be to do before place the cosmetic product in the market, but only after. Okay, next slide, please. Article 14 explain which are the substances that are regulated in the annexes. The Annex 2 list the prohibited substances, the 3, the prohibited substances except within certain limits, so the limits of some substances. Annex 4 permit colorants, 5 preservatives, and 6 UV filters allowed. Next slide. Article 15, and in two slides we will see Article 17, are quite a particular article. In Article 15, we will see that we see that the CMR, so the carcinogenic, mutagenic, or toxic for reproduction substances are not allowed. A lot of these substances are in Annex 2, prohibited substances. But there are some exceptions. The first exception is if these CMR substance has no alternatives. So, for example, vitamin A is a CMR substance which is allowed in cosmetic product. Or, next slide, please. These prohibited substances are allowed if they are unavoidable impurity stemming for example, for the method of manufacture. This is a very particular article because it's not easy to understand which traces means. But one important example is the heavy metals. Next slide, please. Heavy metals are ubiquitous pollutants, and the cosmetic are no exception. Cosmetic shouldn't contain any heavy metal, but in neutron, we see every day that heavy metal are present in cosmetic product in very, very low quantities. And these are allowed because they are traces that are unavoidable. Okay, let's next slide, please. Important Article 19, which state how the label should be drafted. And there are some mandatory elements: the name of the responsible person, the quantity, the period after opening or expiration date, the function of the cosmetic, the ingredient list in the INSI form. INSI is um, the format on which the chemical ingredients are put into the label, and the batch number. Next slide, please. Finally, another important point of this law is the cosmetosurveillance. I didn't know how to translate cosmetosurveillance because it's not a real terminology, but every member state has its terminology for the surveillance post putting the cosmetic into the market. It is very important because it is the cosmetic surveillance has been drafted like the post-marketing surveillance in drugs. Every member state has a specific format in which consumer or doctors or physician can report any adverse effect that could be stem from the use of a cosmetic product. This is important because in this way, European Union can collect all the data about adverse effect on the cosmetics and assure the safety for the human health. Okay, next slide, please. Two words about another important regulation about the claims of cosmetics. This regulation states how six important pillars that we will see better in the next presentation, because Saudi regulation and the European regulation are the same in this case. But I would like to highlight that the most important thing of this law is that if a responsible person claims a particular efficacy of its product, this efficacy must be proved. And it is not possible to attribute claims specific to an ingredient to the cosmetic product itself. Please note the importance of sunscreen test, because in this case, effectiveness coincides with safety. Next slide, please. Some example of efficacy test. All these tests are performed in neutron in vivo, and in vivo it is very important because it's the most relevant way in order to provide support for the claims. Next slide, please. Let's see some of the mandatory tests and the recommended test. The first maybe the only one mandatory test is the challenge test. The challenge test is a simulation of the microbiological stress to which the product will be subject in normal condition. Challenge test assures the microbiology purity and during the time of the use of the product. And it is mentioned in Annex 1, which describe how the PIF, the product information file, should be drafted. Next slide, please. The microbial count, it is important in order to assure the microbiology purity and safety of the cosmetic product. And it is mentioned in Annex 1. And the last, next slide, please. The last test which are mandatory are the SPF tests. They are not mandatory by the law, the cosmetic law, but they are mandatory after a recommendation issued in 2006, in which it is stated that sunscreen product must assure that the SPF must be proved by specific tests. And you will see which tests are performed in Europe. They are all the ISO test, while in America the tests accepted are the FDA test. Okay, next slide, please. Let's pass next slide, okay, to the recommended test. The most important of the recommended test is the patch test. As a safety evaluator, I always say that patch test is quite a mandatory test because it's the only test that permits to the safety evaluator to evaluate the irritation potential of cosmetics on the skin and helps to evaluate the tolerability of a cosmetic product. You know that tolerability of the cosmetic is the basis of the safety for human health. In Neutron, we perform the patch test. It is only an in vivo test, is not an in vitro test, and is performed on healthy volunteers. Next slide, please. Other important tests that a responsible person should perform on this cosmetic is determination of substances in annexes or the active ingredients. Next slide, please. Why they are so important? Because the determination of substances in annexes are important in order to, in a view of a control quality strategy. It is not enough to calculate the concentration of limited substances. The responsible person should perform analysis in order to verify if the calculation of the concentration of this limited substances are the real concentration in the finished product. It is important also in order to understand if the concentration of these important substances, for example, some filter, are stable during the life of a cosmetic. So it is very important to integrate this analysis in a stability protocol study. Another point is that often some substances are required to be analyzed in order to export cosmetic products in outside Europe. And another important thing, these analyses are highly recommended to responsible people who use subcontractors and distributors in order to verify if the manufacturers are performing their are manufacturing their products in a correct way. Anyway, it is very important to stress, to highlight with clients that these analyses are very important, even if are not mandatory. Other important analyses are the determination of impurities. Some raw material may release unwanted substances. For example, dioxane in ingredients in shampoos, acrylamides in emulgel, pesticide in plant extract. Impurities are important because safety evaluator should evaluate also the impact of the impurities on the human health in their product information file. Okay, next slide, please. Two words about the stability and the packaging compatibility test. Next slide. Cosmetic products are unstable for their nature. Emulsion, which are the most important physical form of cosmetic product, are unstable. Uh, Moreover, cosmetic products are made with organic chemical substances, so they are subject to chemical physical variation or microbiological contamination. Unfortunately, it is not possible to predict degradation over time. For this reason, it is very important to draft a protocol of stability test. Next slide. Here you can see some example of stability test. It is used in Europe to carry this stability test in 3 months at different conditions. In fridge, in a heater, and at room temperature, and monitor how the aspect and the other sensitive critical parameter are sorry um, over some period, the evaluator can monitor how the critical parameters are change during this stability test. In Neutron, often we integrate the stability test with chemical analysis in order to understand how the degradation of, for example, some filter or particular ingredients are. For example, if vitamin C, it's an important ingredient for whitening creams. We monitor in a Neutron, we monitor during time which is the concentration of vitamin C in order to understand if the product retain its efficacy during time. And finally, next slide. It is very important to evaluate the interaction between packaging and formula. In Annex 1, it is specified that safety evaluator should consider the migration of unwanted substances from packaging to the formula. It's not a test which is performed by routine because it costs, because it requires times, but it is very important because the responsible person can have a real knowledge of the interaction of the packaging and the finished product. And safety evaluator can evaluate the migration of unwanted substances that could be a problem for the human health. So it's very important to perform also this test. And okay, I finish. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Irene. It was a very complete overview of cosmetics in Europe. Now let's discover the cosmetics regulations in Saudi Arabia under the SFDA scheme and the testing requirements. I'll leave Dr. Chandrajit cover the topic. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Dr. Irene, to give a detailed presentation about the European standards requirements. Now, let's move a little bit about the Saudi Arabian standards. My name is Chandrajit. I'm into tech industry for the last 24 years, and it's my pleasure to answer all your queries at the end of the session. Now, let's look at a little bit about the technical requirements of Saudi Arabian standards. First of all, a lot of people are making a mistake of following the older version of GSO 1943. Remember, the latest standard is GSO 1943 and 2021 version. This has to be followed, which is very important to comply with the cosmetic requirements of Saudi Arabian Food Drugs Authority. Now, there are 6 major functions for this standard, which says about to clean, make sure that properly perfumed, and having a good appearance for the people, and especially to protect from some non-hygienic conditions and keep a good condition and correct your body odor. These are the 6 major functions of the standards, and SFDA regulate these standards to specifically for 7 field of applications, which is very important for the skin protection and hair systems, nails, lips, teeth, and oral cavity, which is very common. We have seen a lot of products coming into Saudi which required the mouthwash properties. And finally, which is very important, says about the genital organs. So these are the 7 field of key applications as per the SFDA standards. Can we move into the next slide, please? There are various normative reference and corresponding standards which you can see as per the SFDA regulations of GSO 1943 2021 version. But the most important is the general safety. So general safety will give the mandatory guidelines how to comply with the regulatory standards. The first one, which is very important about the social values. You have seen that Middle East countries, especially the GSO countries, are having specific uh, social values to make sure that the products are prevailing all the social values as per the region, as well as it has shall follow the Islamic traditions. This is very important. And the next important regulatory requirement is it shall be completely free from porcine products, which is very key. And the other point, which the product should be reasonably safe, that means it should be, free from all type of general contaminations, whether it's a physical, mechanical, chemical, and microbiological contaminations. Homogeneous, stable, and shelf life, which is very important regulatory requirement as per the standard. Each products are having various types of homogeneity and stability and different shelf life. This is an important regulatory requirement. The other important criteria for Saudi Arabian standard for the cosmetics is we should not find any decomposed substance in the cosmetic products or the filthy substance in the products. There are certain regulatory requirements about the prohibited substances. SFDA regulatory bodies clearly mentioned as per the Annex 2 about what are the prohibited substances which cannot be there in the Saudi Arabian standard cosmetic products. The next one about the restricted substances. Certain chemical substances are completely restricted, even though sometimes during the production it may come in contact, but those products are completely restricted. It should not be used at any cost of the production. And that shall be mentioned in Annex 3 of the standard. Then the coloring agents, yes, everybody know that for hair color, we may use to have some certain coloring products in the cosmetics products. Yes, there are certain coloring agents are acceptable on a special product, which is mentioned in Annex 4 of the standard. And the shelf life, to keep the shelf life, manufacturer may add the proper preservatives to ensure that there is no decay in the product quality. That is what the preservatives having a vital role in to keep the product quality of the cosmetics. And it shall be mentioned in the Annexure 5 of the standard. And UV filters can be used in many sunscreen protection products. This shall be mentioned. Certain UV filters can be used, and that is mentioned in Annexure 6 of the standard. I'm mentioning about Annexure 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you have the standard, you can easily find out. If you don't have the standards, please reach out to us. We are happy to assist you to make sure that you are aware about all the restricted products or prohibited products, or what are the coloring agents, what are the type of preservatives or UV filters can be used in your products, which can be easily explained by our technical expertise from Wimpy Laboratories or from Neutron or for any of the Cotecna offices. The next important points, as Dr. Irene was mentioning about European standard, certain trace substance cannot be removed during the production or the manufacturing of the product. Yes, it can be allowed based on certain regulatory requirements. For example, vitamin A can be available in certain products, but it is completely restricted for pregnant women. This is an important information that you have to remember. So certain trace substances can be a little bit of toxic, but it can be completely avoided during the manufacturing. That declaration has to be mentioned as per the labeling requirements. And sunscreen products, yes, Dr. Irene, again, it was detailed about what is called the importance of SPF and what is the sunscreen protection products can be used. That is also mentioned. And there is a specific standard for this called GSO 2237. This standard are detailed uh, specific requirements of the sunscreen products. Again, if you want to know more about these products, we are happy to assist you. And the another say general safety importance is the GMP compliance. Many of the manufacturers are following certain good manufacturing practices, but Saudi Arabian Standards Authority strictly inform the manufacturers, look, if you are producing a product which you want to sell it in Saudi as per case SFDA requirements, it shall be followed under ISO 22716 standard, which is very important. Yes, again, as similar to European standard, microbiological limits are explained. Microbiological limits are explained in a sub-standard called GSO 17516, which says about what are the bacteria can be permitted up to certain levels, but some of the highly important um, bacteria or fungus shall be zero into the products. All these compliance requirements are mentioned clearly in the regulatory requirements. Yes, pH, which is very important to maintain between 4 to 8, except hair colorants, because hair colorants may need a different pH to attain the quality of the products. That is the exception allowed to hair colorants. As Dr. Irene mentioned, similar to European standard, heavy metals are very key. For example, everybody know that the importance of lead content can be very harmful for the lipsticks. So the 10 ppm is the maximum permissible limit for lead, and arsenic and cadmium also very high toxic heavy metals. The maximum permissible limit is 3 ppm. Everyone is well aware about mercury contaminations. Mercury is maximum permissible limit is 1 ppm, similar to the drinking water, and antimony can go up to 5 ppm. And 1,4-dioxane is very common in shampoos. The maximum permissible limit is 10 ppm only. Next slide, please. As I mentioned earlier, GCC countries are having some specific requirements other than what you can see in Europe. Labeling is very important. We are almost follow the international standard, but with the specific certain requirements. Number one, certain products can be in English, but specific few important information shall be there in Arabic as well as in English. Number one, name and trademark of the product shall be clearly mentioned in both languages. Name and address of the manufacturer or distributor depends upon the activity of the supplier. That has to be clearly mentioned. Yes, country of origin is very important information, because if you go to SFDA website, you may find that certain products from certain countries are completely banned. So you have to make sure that those products are not coming from that particular country or particular product. Then yes, nominal contact information is very important in case the consumer wants to reach out to the manufacturer. This information should be there, as well as everybody know that it's very important that manufacturing as well as the expiry date of the product shall be mentioned. And declaration of time period, which is very important. Most of the people that will look at two level of information in this case. Number one is the shelf life for the unopened product. Another one is once you open, how you to store and what is the time period that you can keep it to use. And conditions of use, batch and lot number, these are very important. And product function shall be mentioned in Arabic and English. List of ingredients are very important. Some people are very allergic to certain products, that they have to understand what are the key ingredients mentioned in this product. Maybe it is not necessary that you have to mention the complete composition, but the list of ingredients are very key. Warning and instruction, it is mandatory that you have to mention in Arabic as well as in English to understand all people, all the consumers, the importance of these products can be used, as well as the storage instructions. Certain exemptions are there for special marking. For example, toilet soap. It's a small toilet soap or a hotel amenities, shampoos and hand wash and conditioner, which you will see. Those products, it's very difficult to mention the details as per the labeling requirements. In that case, the common packaging, the secondary packaging can be mentioned those information. Multi-packs also same important. So if you are using a disposable item from a multi-pack, that multi-pack, the common packing only shall fall under the labeling requirements as per SFDA. It is the same case for ampoules and vials. We are all aware about that. Vials can be mentioned all the labeling requirements as per SFDA. So there are certain special marking requirements available for certain products and certain conditions are acceptable by SFDA. Next slide, please. Product claims, I'm sure that this is a hot topic which we are seeing every day, maybe in social media, in newspapers. A lot of issues are there, especially certain manufacturers are claiming that, oh, our products are 100% safe. And whatever the product claims which you mentioned, it shall fall under certain regulatory requirements. The number one is that you have to fall under a standard called GSO 2528. This standard shall fall under the product claims, and whatever the claims which you mention, there will be a proper supporting evidence for that. So SFDA may ask you for that respective uh, supporting evidence as per the standard. So product claims shall under these criteria, which is very important. Next slide, please. We found during our expertise for testing and inspection and certification during these years, certain clients having a big challenge of allergens declaration, because allergens are not a single parameter. It may contain a huge list of allergens. So in that case, yes, of course, it's mandatory that you have to declare these allergens, but there should be a proper evidence that you are doing a complete testing as per the allergens requirements of the respective products. And if there are if there is no certain compliance acceptance criteria is not available with the manufacturer, then of course that the trader or the regulatory compliance body may do a safety assessment, which was again explained the similar way as per the European standard. And we have seen a lot of products which says about the promotions, hair promoters, hair growth promoters, or skin protection cream or skin whitening cream. So make sure that the banned product or the banned restricted chemicals such as steroids, hormones, all those items are not available with these products. This is very important. Another hot topic which we have seen about halal products, which is very important for GSO countries. So there should be proper objective evidence that these falls under halal or the herbal products. This is very important. And make sure that there is no proper medical terminologies are used, because when you convert certain terminology in terms of medical wordings in Arabic, even though you are using a non-hygienic or hygienic conditions wording, if you convert into Arabic, it can fall under medical terminology. So you may look at these are the key critical, apart from the regulatory standards, what these are the product compliance challenges, what we have seen. Now, how, if you face any of these problems, how we can support? We are a group having a huge setup of the laboratories in various parts of the world. We have a laboratory in ACT in America. If you look at in Far East, that we have a Toby lab there in China. We have very good food and cosmetic testing laboratory there in Italy called Neutron. Dr. Irene represents this company. We have Geochem in India as well as in Middle East that we do all type of cosmetic testing. And finally, Wimpy is there in UAE for you to support all your testing requirements. So make sure that you follow the latest compliance standard, you follow the latest testing requirements as per the SFDA standard. And thank you very much for listening to me this session. And we are happy to assist you in any testing requirements or compliance verification. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chandrajit. It was a very comprehensive part on the Saudi requirements for cosmetics and for giving some specific guidelines to follow. Now we will continue with the challenges in compliance and certification and how we can meet the Saudi regulatory requirements. I'll leave the floor to our SFDA and cosmetics experts, Maham and Aurélie.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. So I will start today with an overview about SFDA since Dr. Chandra has explained a lot about SFDA regulations and SFDA requirements. So to start, SFDA is an independent body which is directly reported to the President of Council of Ministers, and their main objective is to ensure the health and safety of food and drugs for human and animal consumption of products and substance imported or locally manufactured in the kingdom. Next slide, please. So the objective of SFDA will apply for the following scopes, including food, cosmetics, halal, tobacco, feed, and other scopes. And also SFDA has other scopes that mentioned here, including nutrition. Next slide. To talk about SFDA cosmetics program more, we have the SFDA conformity cosmetics program. It's a mandatory program developed by SFDA to ensure the quality and safety of cosmetics product, both locally manufactured and also imported to KSA. And the main objectives of this program is to ensure the safety of cosmetics before importing to KSA, and also to establish a global database of registered and notified product for local also, and also to the imported product. And also SFDA is giving a clearance authorization for the shipments of cosmetics coming to Saudi. And finally, to develop a specific standard, as Dr. Chandra mentioned, 2 or 3, 4 different standards he mentioned during his presentation. Next slide. Okay, as part of SFDA cosmetics program, we are approved to assist and support our clients and new clients in the following countries listed in the approval. And to go more in depth to explain the procedure and requirement of conformity program of SFDA, I will leave the floor to my colleague Aurélie.
Yes, sorry, I had trouble with my camera. So we can go to next slide, please. So yeah, hi everybody. So I'm Aurélie. I'm technical expert in VOC program and in conformity assessment, and I'm specialized in cosmetic regulation. So I will just go through more practical stuff during this presentation. Is how to comply with the SFDA cosmetic program and what are the requirements. So mainly the Saudi authority requirements impose that the importer must have an account and declare everything on the Saudi Food and Drug Authority website. All products, cosmetics and perfumery products must be registered and notified in the HUD platform. Which is actually similar to the CPMP that was discussed by Irene. The importer mandatorily have a cosmetics commercial registration certificate, which will include cosmetic trade as a registered activity. And one very important, the aim of this program is to obtain a certificate of conformity pre-shipment, meaning that it has to be available and product must demonstrate compliance before shipment, so before it reach Saudi territory. The certificate is now placed on the online platform FACE. And finally, last but not least, of course, all the labeling and marking should meet the SFDA requirements as detailed by Dr. Chandra. And product should comply with the GSO 1943 standard. regarding the regulated product and the product covered by this regulation. The definition is exactly the same and is similar to the European regulation in terms of function and application. Next slide, please. So just quick information about the HAG platform. So this is now the unified electronic system which is used by SFDA. It is a common platform used by all activities covered by SFDA, so from cosmetics to food. So this is, as I said, similar to the CPNP, the Cosmetic Product Notification Portal that you can find in Europe. And the process is kind of similar. You have to declare all information regarding the composition, the claim CMR, and everything. So each and every product placed on the market shall be registered and notified in this platform. It is in the same system that you can apply also for warehouse licensing or for GMP for the local factory. We have, of course, MAHAM, which we just delivered the introduction, which can be support from the importer side locally to support you about all the necessary steps that need to be done in this platform. Next slide, please. The other new platform mandatory in Saudi is FASE. It is the electronic clearance system, and now each and every conformity assessment body, just like Cotecna, should issue the certificate in this platform directly. This is, again, a unified system used by SFDA to ensure the traceability. So you can have, you have to declare all the batch numbers and everything in this system to allow also SFDA to do their market surveillance. We can help as well. If you don't know the system, we can support you and explain or do it on your behalf if you have difficulties using this platform. Next slide, please. So basically, how to obtain a COC from the conformity assessment bodies. There's three main steps. The first one is the conformity assessment of the product. So checking that your product are in compliance with the GSO 1943. So by this, it is document review, analysis, test reports, labeling review, checking of the translation as well, of course, to ensure that the product fully comply. Then there is a physical inspection of the goods, then where we compare that the product declared and the packaging and labeling declare are exactly the same that you will ship. And it is also double check of the marking and labeling of the product and of the general quality and quantity of the shipment. Once we have followed these two steps and the satisfactory assessment, then we can issue the certificate of conformity in FASE. Generally, I will detail after that the different routes, but the idea is that Cotecna will put in place some facilitation and offer you pre-registration of your product after checking full compliance in order to provide more flexibility during the shipping process and export process. So next slide, please. So we have basically 3 routes that you can follow. It is up to the conformity assessment body, depending on your profile, depending on the fragrance, on the homogeneity of the product exported, to offer you the best route and the easiest route for you to accompany you for your export. So if you have frequent shipment, always the same product, perfect compliance history, then we will mainly offer Route B, which will help you with some facilitation, mainly meaning that we will do only random testing and random inspection. So there is not a systematic intervention of Cotecna for each and every file. Of course, the certificate of conformity is required for each and every shipment, but you have a facilitation process and some flexibility to obtain it more quickly. Next slide, please. Here, just an overview of the technical file and the documents that we will require to assess compliance of your cosmetic product. So we'll have a review of the formula. So we'll need a detailed quality formula. We'll have to review the artwork. Ideally, it's better to provide the full artwork, so the primary, the secondary, if you have a leaflet as well, so that we can ensure that all the claims, all the labeling, all the translation are there, and confirm the compliance of the labeling. We require also the specification sheet confirming the microbial specification, the pH that we will test as well, but all the specific detail of about the product. We need to have a copy of the cosmetic product safety report, so as was explained by Irene. The PIF and the safety report is mandatory as well in Saudi. So you have to provide this document in order to prove that the product are safe for human use. So basics is the same. Basics of the regulation is to ensure that the product is safe for the consumer. GMP certificate will be required as well. And we'll do some random testing from accredited laboratory. So the number and the validity of the test report will really depend on the product range, on the type of product. So here again, you will be guided by the conformity assessment body to give you the list of tests which are mandatory for the file. The idea with that, and the idea generally behind Route B, is that the more complete is the file, the more documents you provide us to demonstrate compliance, the more flexibility we can grant you in the shipping and in the COC process. Next slide, please. Labeling. So here it's the same again, so I will not repeat. You find the same labeling requirements as in Europe. The difference is that you have to get to put the Arabic labeling, of course, again for consumer information. So as a minimum, very minimum, the function of the product, the instruction for use and storage, and any warning related to the ingredient required by the annex, or any warning that is added by the manufacturer. Of course, then the Arabic consumer should have the same level of information, so any safety information should be mandatorily translated. You have to pay attention that the Arabic labeling should be included before the shipment, so that's why we also do some random inspection to check that. It is not allowed to add the translation locally. So all the products should be compliant pre-shipment. Again, so you have to arrange for the country of supply or country of origin of the good, and not at arrival. Next slide, please. So now, just to wrap up and to practically the comparison between both presentations we had, there is a very clear link between the URI regulation and the GSO regulation, the Saudi regulation. Saudi or GSO regulation are basically based on the URI regulation. So the corresponding of the URI 2023 is the GSO 1943. The latest version is the 2021. And now in this new version, there is no annex anymore in these various standards. There is a dynamic link to the URI regulation in terms of ingredient prohibition, restriction, UV filters, colors, and preservatives. Especially for Saudi, there is an official SFDA version of these standards, which is the SFDA 1943 as well. Regarding the PIF, the product information file and the safety report, the Annex 1 of the URI regulation, there is an equivalent in Saudi, which is the SFDA Cosmetic Standard 6000, which detail, again, the same part 1 and part B of the PIF and the safety assessment reports. So this is mandatory as well for Saudi. And finally, one also important regulation mentioned already by Irene, is the regulation about the claims. So we have, as said by Dr. Chandra as well, the equivalent is the GSO 2528, which really repeat the common criteria. So basically, again, if you follow the URI regulation, you shall be compliant with Saudi regulation. But yeah, in terms of translation, you have to be careful as well, because sometimes the wording in Arabic may lead to a different comprehension of the product. So it is better to have claim assessment, complete claim and labeling assessment. Actually, assessment of the claim can be requested also with the SFDA directly on the HUD system as well. And of course, Cosmetic can help you to review and to guide you and recommend for this. Next slide, please. Just a quick overview of the latest SFDA circular. So SFDA regularly publish some new circular, which are generally in line with the latest regulatory update in Europe. So the latest one was issued in September. It's a circular about prohibited substance. Here again, it is similar to the Europe regulation. So it's a copy and paste of the regulation mentioned on the slide. We had one circular in May about the restriction for the azelaic acid. So here, pay attention, we have some deviation from URI regulation. This is one of it. There is only a few examples in which it is different. So this one, and we have also the alpha hydroxy acid. The regulation is different. The restrictions are higher in Saudi. So generally, all the ingredients restrictions are similar, but better to check and to keep aware with your conformity assessment body to ensure your formula will be compliant. One of the latest, also in July, was restriction on the M&M, which is again similar to the URI regulation. You can check and have all the information and the circular on the SFDA website, but you have to be careful. In the English version, you will not find the exact same level of information, so better to check the Arabic version of the website. And next slide, and last one. Actually, so this is just a reminder. We have seen the requirements and the regulation apply to cosmetic product. But sometimes we know that cosmetics exporter may have also some non-cosmetics item in your shipment. So it can be marketing material, packaging, some brushes or accessory or small textile pouch or this kind of stuff. In this case, it is very important also to consult your conformity assessment body to check if the product will fall under the SABER process, which is not under SFDA but under SASO. So checking status and apply for the relevant process. Where Cotecna can support you as well to know if you have a certificate of conformity to require also for your non-cosmetic product. And this is it. Thank you very much. We are now available for any questions.
Thank you very much, Maram and Aurélie, for this complete overview of regulatory requirements and to meet compliance in Saudi Arabia. As you mentioned, now we'll review some of the questions we've received when you're registering. If you have any other ones, don't hesitate to add them in the Q&A part. Okay, so we have selected some that we have received. How to stay up to date with regulatory compliance changes? I will let Irene respond to this one, please.
Yeah, this is a very interesting question, and this is one of the questions that I put to myself at the very beginning of my career as a safety evaluator. Well, it's not easy to stay up to date, but there are some tricks some suggestions that I can give to you. First of all, if you want to see any update, you should visit the official website of the European Chemical Agency. Well, I didn't mention this, but cosmetics in Europe are a particular type of chemical mixture. They are chemical mixture that are exempted by by the most of the regulation about chemicals because they are cosmetic and they have their own regulation. Anyway, a lot of decisions about ingredients are not cosmetic products. They are chemical products. So a lot of decisions and updating of chemical ingredients of cosmetic you can find into the European Chemical Agency website, which is the ECHA. The acronym is ECHA. If you visit this website and search for example, cosmetic ingredient, you can find a lot of information about chemical and cosmetic ingredients. Another important website is the official website of the European Union, both about health and about regulation. If you digit on your screen SCCS, Scientific Committee on Consumer I don't remember because they have changed a lot of times their acronym, so I don't remember. But Scientific Committee, okay. If you digit Scientific Committee on Consumer Safety, SCCS, you will find the official website of the scientific organization of European Union, that it is the most important organization that evaluates periodically the cosmetic ingredients. The opinion of the Scientific Committee on Consumer Safety are not mandatory, are not a regulation, but often their opinion are translated into regulation by the European Commission. Not every time. There are sometimes some favorable opinion on some ingredients which are not become law in Europe. And finally, you can stay up to date also visiting the official website of the European Union about new law and regulation. But if you want to stay up to date, there are also a lot of meeting of Cosmetic Europe's, which is the organization which group all the European cosmetic manufacturer that are updated about new regulation, about new proposal or regulation.
Thank you. I will also add, don't hesitate to follow Cotecna channels on social media. We keep everyone up to date with any major regulatory compliance changes that can impact our clients. Next question. Is there any allergens test report required for oud? What is called an accredited certificate? I will let the floor to Dr. Jean-Rajit, please.
Thank you. Very interesting question. See, because I'm seeing a lot of oud which people are using in Middle East countries in home as well as offices, or even you go to supermarkets, hypermarkets, malls, you will see the same thing. Yes, oud required allergen test report as per SFDA requirements, not only allergens. Probably it is very important that detection of prohibited phthalates in the oud, as well as very important test parameters for oud is nitromus. So these are the three key critical tests which you required for oud to bring into Saudi. And the next point of question is related to accredited test requirements. So yes, ISO 17025 is a standard which is required for the laboratories as per ISO 17025. The accreditation body grant an accreditation certificate based on the scope and the detection limit of the product. So if you're seeing an allergen testing, that the lab go for an accreditation with an accreditation body with a SAC, IAS, UCAS, or EAC, or any accreditation body which is required for GSO. Most of the accreditation bodies are accepted by SFDA if it is falls under ISO 17025 requirement. The most important that allergen specific test shall be accredited based on a specific test methods. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, third question. We have seen some products showing that it can kill 99.9% of germs. Is it allowed in Saudi as per SFDA? Technical question, Jean-Rajit, maybe you can help us answer this.
Very good. It's not a surprising question for me because I'm seeing similar declaration in many countries about the cosmetics that it can kill up to 99%, 100% germs free. Those type of points which you will see in declaration, but it is not allowed in Saudi as per the regulations because Saudi Arabia regulatory body declared a special circular called 37915, which clearly says that those type of product claims are not at all allowed. Instead of that, you can tell that, okay, this is antibacterial, this is antifungal. Those types of statements can be put in the claims, but you are not supposed to claim anything saying that kill 99.9% germs, because those type of test report based on certain conditions, which is not very common to the consumers. Thank you. Alex, you are mute.
Thank you. I am working for a trading company who wants to bring miswak to Saudi Arabia. What are the tests that can be performed and who can help us do so? Who can take this one? Jean-Rajit, you can take this one as well?
Yes, I can help you out. So look, these type of the concerns mostly which we are seeing from the trading companies about miswak. Miswak is a oral cleaning. I don't want to say it as an equipment, but it's a tool which you can use it as per local regulatory requirements, and mostly the local people are using these type of products because this miswak is made from Salvadoro. It's a tree which is as per Islamic conditions. It's very good in terms of the performance. Now, if you want to bring a miswak to Saudi Arabia, two important tests has to be performed for the product. That is very important. One is the microbiological parameters as well as the heavy metal contaminations, because it's going to be a direct contact with your body. So this is very important. So make sure that your product is passed with the testing requirements as per heavy metals and microbiological. And another point, if you want to do is, yes, our VOC team is happy to assist you in all type of regulatory requirements to bring your material to Saudi. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, we are a manufacturer of mouthwash from India. And what labeling requirements shall fall under SFDA? And can we use the wording 100% sterile? Aurélie, can you please help us with this one, please?
Yeah, I can take this one. So regarding the labeling, we have seen the details and the requirements for translation as well. Regarding sterile, it is one of the claims that should be avoided because it may think that it will be under the medical category. So you have to be careful and try to avoid these which are more recommended for the medical industry. Just about mouthwash, there is also I take opportunity. There's a circular from SFDA as well from long time back, but which is prohibiting alcohol in mouthwash. So you have to be careful that mouthwash will be alcohol free. Otherwise, it will not be allowed in Saudi. And yeah, be careful with the wordings and claims.
Thank you, Aurélie. Next question, how to proceed to export my perfume to Saudi Arabia? I'll let you continue on this one, please.
I will take this one as well. So basically, you have to comply with the requirement I just explained, and then you have mandatorily to be in touch with a conformity assessment body, which will guide you again through the best route to build your technical file and to evaluate it and to make you recommendation, maybe sometimes about the claims or the labeling or the translation. As I said at the beginning, it seems to be a huge process and very demanding in terms of documents. But we will ensure that we'll provide you facilitation and help you to get your certificate as quickly as possible. So for the first time, we'll have the technical review, and then if we grant flexibility on testing and inspection, it is a very quick process. In Cotecna, we can produce a certificate within generally 1 or 2 days maximum. We will help you to facilitate and to be quick and try to not being too heavy on your logistic part.
Thank you, Aurélie. What are the prohibited substances for shampoo? Irene, maybe you can help on this one, please.
Sure. Yes, sure. Okay, as Aurélie, Dr. Aurélie, but also Maram mentioned, there are a lot of link between European regulation and Saudi regulation, and in general, we can say that there are a lot of link also between UE regulation and other regulation around the world, excepting for North America. Anyway, proceeding with new scientific evidences, some substances are put into Annexes 2 in European regulation. Sometimes often other countries follow the European regulation, but not always. And for example, zinc pyrithion is one of the clear example of this. Zinc pyrithion is an effective anti-dandruff agent, which was widely used in Europe and which is widely used also outside Europe. In Europe, zinc pyrithion has become prohibited since 1 year, but it is not prohibited outside Europe. So it's very important to state to understand to understand for a manufacturer if zinc pyrithion is present in its cosmetic, and if that cosmetic will be imported into Europe, because this substance is prohibited in Europe but is allowed outside Europe. Zinc pyrithion is one of the most clear example of prohibited substance for shampoo. Other ones are another example is dioxane, which has been mentioned by the Dr. Chandra, which is an impurity. In Europe is the same as the Saudi regulation. Dioxane is an impurity typical of the shampoos, and it is allowed to a maximum of 10 ppm in a cosmetic product, because it is an example of the unavoidable traces of prohibited substances.
Thank you very much. Now we received a few questions in the Q&A tab. If you have other ones, don't hesitate to add them. We'll start with the question from Alejandro. Okay, so are nitrosamines, I'm not sure how you say it right, I'm sorry, testing mandatory for cosmetics products? If so, a qualitative analysis must be performed. HPLC, MS/MS, these kind of things. Irene, maybe you can take that question.
Sorry, can you repeat before? Because
Sure.
unfortunately there was an interference
No
with my
worries.
computer. Sorry.
No worries. Are nitrosamines testing mandatory for cosmetic products? If so, does a quantitative analysis be performed?
Well, quantitative analysis, as I said before, the safety evaluator should guide the manufacturer and the responsible person to perform some analysis. Anyway, quantitative analysis that you can perform are as a part of a quality control strategy could be the dosage of the concentration of restricted substances. This is very important because the substances in Annex 3, which are the restricted substances, must respect the limit imposed by the Annex 3. Another quantitative analysis that a responsible person may perform are the dosage of active ingredients. For example, as I mentioned before, vitamin C for whitening cream. Whitening cream are important group of cosmetic which are very widely spread outside Europe, but also in Europe. And in order to assure the efficacy of this type of product, you should perform a quantitative analysis of the active ingredient in them, because if they are stable over the time, you can be sure that your cosmetic will work. I hope to answer to the question.
Alexa, probably I can add one point
Sure.
what Dr. Irene said about it in as per case SFDA regulations in Saudi Arabia, that nitrosamines shall be tested if you declare amines are present. If there is no compound of amine, any part of compound of amine are not there in your product, especially for hair products or mouth care products, then Yes, if you declare it as amines are present, then of course nitrosamines testing is mandatory. And Wimpy and Neutron is able to do the testing as per by using LCMSMS.
Yeah, now I've read better the question. Sorry. Nitrosamines are mandatory in Europe only in some cases. If the safety evaluator states that there are some issue critical points in ingredients that could raise the creation of nitrosamine. Anyway, if a responsible person wants to perform this type of analysis, it is advisable to do so. But often the nitrosamine are particular impurities that raise in a particular type of formula. So I think that it is advisable to examine the formula before and then decide if proceed with the type of analysis.
Thank you.
In any case, sorry, I would like to add that actually there are some specific ingredients in Annex 3 which are mentioned to be performed nitrosamine analysis, and there are some the limits of this nitrosamine in finished product.
Thank you very much. Okay, next question. For traders, it will be challenging to obtain detailed ingredients as qualit and also NC codes. Also, GMP certificate might not be available for all manufacturers. Will a declaration from the factory be sufficient? Aurélie, maybe you can answer that one.
Yeah, so we know that sometimes, especially for trader, it may be difficult to provide the required documents without access to the manufacturer. So this will really, there's no generic answer to that one. It will really depend on the exporter profile, on the brands, on the product. So it requires an assessment and risk analysis from Cotecna, but we can find ways, maybe in some case with declaration, but anyway, in terms of quality, quantity, and INCI, this can be checked directly on the labeling, so it can be really, the INCI compliance can be checked directly on the labeling, so this we can find out. And if we do not have access to the details ingredients, we may request some more thorough testing, which means we can do quantification of the preservative materials, checking all the active ingredients. But again, this will really depend on the profile, on the risk assessment, and of course, without any documents, we have to balance with more thorough inspection and more testing. But to be honest, without nothing, no documents at all, if the exporter is not able to demonstrate compliance, there are some cases where it would not be we will not be able to certify the product. So it really has to demonstrate the safety and the compliance to the local regulation. So if you have this particular process, you can communicate with the Cotecna team to see if something can be done or not.
Thank you, Aurélie. Other questions we received for eyeliner products specifically. Does the symbol period after opening need to be added with a production and expiry date? Chandra Gide, can you help us answer this one, please?
Very good. This is a mandatory requirement, as I have shown in my presentation, that the symbol shall be there for the eye care products, because it's very important for the not only for the expiry and production manufacturing as well as the expiry dates, but it is equally important that how it when it is opened and how many time can be used after the initial opening, because eye products are required very critical test of microbiology, heavy metals, and other chemicals, including nitrosamines, if amines are present. So it is very important to keep not only the production and expiry date, but the opening instructions also.
Thank you very much. We've covered the questions we've received. Anyway, if you have any further questions, we will send by email the presentation, the recording of the session, and you'll have the contact details of everyone that was a speaker in this session. So you'll be able to ask the questions specifically to our WIMPY team, to our Neutron team, to our VOC team. So don't hesitate. Just a quick heads up, if you want to stay up to date and receive all the upcoming webinars, events that Cotecna is organizing, if you want to receive the latest industry trends, the latest technical regulations, as I mentioned, or any changes to the government programs, don't hesitate to subscribe to the Cotecna newsletter. We'll add you to our mailing list, and you'll be able to stay up to date and be the first informed. And next slide, please. Of course, you can connect with us on our social media channels. We'll be very happy to interact with you. And that's it for us. Thank you very much for joining this webinar. It's been a real pleasure to have you all with us today. Thank you. A special thank you to all our speakers. It was very, very good, and I learned a lot personally, so it was very insightful for everyone, I'm sure, to learn so many things. I hope it has answered all of your questions. Again, if you need any further information, our team will be very happy to help you. That's it for me. I wish everyone a very happy holiday season. And hope to see you very soon in our next webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you all. Thank
Thank
you
you.
all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.